Your children don't deserve this holiday, my mother declared at the Sunday dinner table, pointing her fork at the other side of the table with an accusing look. Not after they refused to share their room with your sister's children. Do you know how disappointed those poor children were? I looked down at my plate, and the weight of familiar family judgments suffocated me like a heavy blanket. The roast beef remained untouched, its flavor suddenly gone. My children, Chloe and Noah, sat silently beside me. Their previous excitement for our planned trip to the beach had completely vanished. Chloe's shoulders slumped forward, her usual sparkle dimmed. Noah stirred the peas in his bowl without eating. I said quietly, they wanted their own space for once. We've been sharing accommodations on every family trip for the past 5 years. That's what the family does, my sister Jessica interrupted, her voice dripping with righteousness. My children were looking forward to spending time with their cousins, but it seems your children are better off now. Dad deliberately put down his glass. Selfish behavior shouldn't be rewarded. Perhaps you should reconsider renting the beach house. Teach them a lesson in family values. I glanced over at Chloe, who was 11 and overjoyed to finally have her own room for the holidays. 9-year-old Noah asked if he could bring his telescope to stargaze from his private balcony. Simple requests. A natural desire for a little independence. I tried to explain, saying, they are just children. Jessica corrected her, saying, spoiled kids. When my kids were this age, they never complained about sleeping on air mattresses in communal spaces. They understood the meaning of sacrifice. The mother nodded vigorously. Exactly. You're raising them to strive for perfection. This holiday will only make things worse. Cancel it. Use that money for something practical. The pressure in my chest gradually increased, but I kept my facial expression neutral. I'll think about it. Don't think, the mother ordered. Do the right thing. These children need to learn the consequences of their actions. I drove home in silence while Chloe and Noah stared out the windows. Neither of them asked about the beach house. They had learned, as I had years ago, that wishing in our family often leads to disappointment. That night, after I'd put them to bed, I sat down at my laptop. The beach house booking confirmation lit up the screen. $20,000 for 2 weeks in a modest house on the coast. I'd saved that money for 18 months, working odd jobs, skipping lunches, and squeezing every last penny. But my mom's words kept echoing in my mind. Jessica's criticism. Dad's disappointment. My finger remained hovering over the cancel button. Then I looked at the picture hanging on the bulletin board. I'm their age, crammed into a corner during a family vacation, giving up my bed to my cousins who sleep on the floor. Always helpful, always last. I closed the beach house tab. Instead, I opened another browser window and started searching for something completely different. 3 days later, I sent a short text message to the family chat group. The beach house rental has been canceled. I was right. The mother's response was immediate. Good. I'm proud of you for making this mature decision, Jessica added. This will be good for them in the long run. I didn't reply. I was too busy completing other arrangements. The following week, I picked up Chloe and Noah from school, and their bags were already packed in the trunk of the car. Chloe asked cautiously, as if afraid to hope. Where are we going? I simply said, vacation. But my grandmother said, Grandma doesn't decide how I raise my children. Noah's eyes widened. Really? Are we really going somewhere? Really? I didn't tell them where we were going. I wanted to see their faces when we arrived. The airport was crowded, but we went through security smoothly. I had prepared everything meticulously, passports, documents, and travel insurance. Chloe carried her small bag carefully, as if she truly appreciated the trip. When we reached the gate, I finally read the departure sign. I whispered in a trembling voice, Mom, it says Maldives here. Absolutely. Like the Maldives themselves? The islands in the Indian Ocean. Exactly the same. Noah held my hand, unable to speak for the first time in his life. His eyes were wide, reflecting the light of the departure board. The flight was long but comfortable. We had good seats with entertainment systems, and meals were served on real trays. Chloe watched 3 movies. Noah, on the other hand, stared out the window for hours, mesmerized by the clouds and the ocean. Upon arrival, we were greeted by a resort representative with chilled towels and welcome drinks. The speedboat ride to our overwater villa took 30 minutes, winding its way through turquoise waters, so clear I could see fish swimming below. The villa we stayed in had 2 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom and a balcony overlooking the ocean. Chloe stood in her room, staring at the glass floorboard that revealed the water and marine life below, and then she began to cry. What's wrong? I asked, feeling worried. There's nothing wrong, she said, crying. Everything is perfect. This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. I found Noah's telescope in his room. He had left it there at my request during the reservation. That night, he was able to identify the constellations from his private balcony while tropical fish swam in the illuminated waters below. We spent our days snorkeling, kayaking, and eating fresh fruit on our balcony. We only took one photo, a sunset shot from the villa's balcony, where Chloe and Noah appeared as shadows against an orange and pink sky. I posted it on social media with a simple caption. Sometimes the right choice is the unexpected one. Within minutes, my phone started ringing. Jessica's message came first. This is completely unfair. Then the mother said, I thought you had canceled your vacation. Father, how can you afford this? I turned off my phone and went back to watching my children playing in the shallow water near our villa, their laughter echoing across the lake. The messages kept piling up over the next few days, though I only checked them once a day. Jessica seemed to have researched the costs of resorts in the Maldives. Her messages grew increasingly heated and agitated. Do you know how much those overwater villas cost? That's months' worth of mortgage payments, years' worth of car insurance, and my college savings. My mother arranged a family video call that I refused to join. She left a voice message saying, We need to discuss your financial decisions. This is irresponsible. These children don't understand the value of money now. You've spoiled them. My cousin Emily, who has always been kind, sent a different message. She said, Well done. I remember how many holidays you sacrificed for others. Enjoy every moment. On our 5th day, while Chloe was learning to paddle standing up on a surfboard and Noah was examining hermit crabs with the resort's naturalist, my phone rang from an unknown number. Is this Rebecca? A woman's voice asked. Yes. This is Diane from Luxury Travel Magazine. Our algorithm spotted your recent Instagram post. We're working on a report about single parents creating unforgettable experiences for their children. Would you like to be interviewed? I stared at the turquoise horizon. I'm not sure I'm interesting enough for that. On the contrary, your post has been shared 8,000 times in the past 3 days. Your comment about unexpected choices resonated with parents. We would like to publish your story. I agreed to think about it and hung up, feeling confused. That evening, we received another call, this time from the resort manager. Ms. Rebecca, we noticed that your family was very quiet and respectful throughout your stay. We would like to offer you a complimentary upgrade to our luxury villa for the remainder of your stay, and we would be delighted if you would write a review of your experience. This is a great act of generosity, but it is unnecessary. Please, we insist on that. All our staff have noticed the joy of your children. It is comforting to see a family present and truly grateful. The luxurious villa was even more stunning, with a private pool and personal butler service. Chloe and Noah couldn't believe it was real. On the 10th day, I finally called my mother. I hope you're satisfied, she began immediately. Jessica is devastated. Her children keep asking why their cousins are allowed to go to luxury resorts while they're stuck at home. I said calmly, they can save up for their own holidays. Don't pretend to be smart. You know what I mean? This was excessive and unnecessary. You canceled the reasonable beach house just to prove your point. I canceled it because you made me doubt my ability to raise my children. Then I realized that you had been doing that my whole life, making me doubt myself, making me choose the comfort of others over the happiness of my children. Silence prevailed along the entire line. I continued, the beach house cost $20,000. This trip cost me about the same amount, maybe a little less in fact, because I used miles and points I'd accumulated over the years through business travel. The difference is that my children here have their own space, their own rooms, and their own complete privacy. They don't sleep on the floor, they don't give up their beds, and they don't feel guilty about wanting the simplest comforts. I took a deep breath. The Maldives are actually affordable if you plan well and use your resources wisely. You assumed they were expensive because you always assumed I was incapable of making good decisions. Jessica assumed I was irresponsible because she never asked me about my real financial situation. More silence. I said calmly, I have a successful independent consulting business. I earn a good living. I save carefully. I budget responsibly. And I decided that my children deserve to feel special, even if just once, without being burdened by family rule. We were trying to teach them values. You were trying to control me, as you always do. The difference is that I no longer ask for permission. I heard my father's voice in the background, asking what was happening. I said, I have to go. My children want to see the dolphins at sunset. Rebecca, wait. I hung up. That night, Chloe asked the question I had been expecting. Are we in trouble with my grandmother? Maybe, she admitted, but not the kind of problems that matter. Noah asked, which type matters? The kind of person who compromises their principles to please others. That's the problem I'm trying to avoid teaching you. On our last day, the travel magazine interview was published online. It was a classy interview, focusing on the importance of creating positive memories and trusting parental intuition. A photo of my family was included with the article, with our names redacted at my request. Emily sent a text message saying, I just read the article. You're my hero. Jessica's message, person's name, was different. Everyone is talking about this article. They know it's you. My mom is so embarrassed. I simply replied, good. The The journey home was a bittersweet experience. Chloe and Noah were suntanned and relaxed, sharing fascinating stories of their snorkeling adventures and evening fruit bat sightings. They had made friends with other children at the resort and learned about marine conservation through the resort's environmental programs. Upon receiving my luggage, I fully activated my phone for the first time in 2 weeks. I found 73 messages waiting for me. Most were from family members, and their reactions ranged from anger and confusion to unexpected support. It seemed that many of my uncles and aunts had been following the controversy surrounding the magazine article and had opinions on my mother's public criticism. One message stood out from my younger brother Daniel, who rarely got involved in family problems. He said, "Dad called a family meeting about your rebellion. I told them, if teaching children that they deserve happiness and personal space is rebellion, then maybe we should all rebel more." Well done, sis. I smiled and put the phone back in my pocket. When we got home, Chloe hung a picture of the sunset in her room. Noah started writing in his journal about the marine life he had seen. Neither of them mentioned family problems or asked when they would see their cousins again. 3 weeks later, I received an official invitation to speak at an educational conference about setting boundaries with the extended family. The organizer had read the article published in the magazine and thought my point of view would resonate with the audience. My mother called the night before the conference. She said in a stiff tone, "I saw the announcement about participating in the conference." "Did you? Rebecca, you're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be." "I'm sharing my experience. That's all. You're making me look like a bad person. I have never mentioned your name publicly. If you feel disliked, perhaps you should think about that." She hung up without saying goodbye. The conference went very well. After it ended, dozens of parents contacted me, sharing their personal stories of family pressures and negative expectations. Many of them were crying. Several thanked me for giving them permission to prioritize their children's emotional needs over the expectations of the extended family. I came home thinking about those conversations, about the ways we perpetuate patterns of control and guilt across generations, and about how breaking those patterns starts with a single decision to choose differently. Chloe greeted me at the door holding a drawing she had made of the Maldives villa where we were staying. She asked me hopefully, "Can we go back someday?" "Absolutely," I promised. "And next time we'll stay longer." Nohanati called from his room saying, "And we will still have our own rooms." I replied, "Always, you will always have your own space." Later that evening, after the children had gone to sleep, I sat on the back porch sipping tea and using my laptop. The family group chat had been silent for days, an unusual silence that seemed more serene than awkward. My phone rang with a text message from Jessica. "Can we talk?" I considered ignoring it, then decided that it wouldn't benefit anyone. So I replied, "Absolutely." She called immediately. She began speaking in a voice devoid of its usual intensity. "I was thinking about what you said about control and governance." I waited. "My children asked me why we don't take private trips but only family trips." I realized that I didn't have a good answer other than, "That's not how our family does things," which is exactly what my mother always told us. "It's a pattern that's hard to break," I admitted. "I'm not apologizing for everything," she explained. "But perhaps I was a little harsh about the room-sharing issue. Your children are good children. They deserved a wonderful holiday." It wasn't a full apology, but it was something. I simply said, "Thank you for saying that." We talked for another 20 minutes, carefully avoiding delving into deeper issues, but we found some common ground. It wasn't a final solution, but it was a start. When I finally got into bed, I thought about the beach house we had canceled, the family rule we had avoided, and the lovely memories we had made instead. Sometimes the right choice is the unexpected one.
अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं ये जो दिन सहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं तुम्हारे बिन ये मौसम भी बड़ा बेसर्द लगता है दिल का हर एक कोना अब बहुत ही दूर भरता है अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं ये जो दिन सुहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं तुम्हारे बिन ये मौसम भी बड़ा सर्द लगता है दिल का हर एक कोना बहुत ही दर्द भरता है मेरे साए भी मुझसे अब जुदा होने को कहते साजो समा तो मेरी हर एक तमन्ना तू, मेरी रूह का मका तू। लकीरों में नहीं लिखा जो तुमने ख्वाब देखा था, वफा की इस कहानी में फकत एक गम ही लिखा था। सितारों से भी पूछता है पता तेरा कहाँ होगा, मगर खामोश है दुनिया कहाँ मेरा जहाँ होगा। बस एक बार मुड़ के देख ले मेरी बेबसी की सूरत, मुझे है आज भी तेरी वफा की सख्त जरूरत। साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर, साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर, दर्द का असर।